Hi everyone, welcome you all. In the today's video, we are going to see how we can handle web table in Cypress. So as part of that, first of all, we will see how we can check number of rows and columns in a table. And then we will see how we can check cell data for specific row and column in a table and how we can validate the data in specific row and column. And then we will see how we can read all the rows and columns data in the table. And sometimes the pages, the table is having a pagination. So like each and every page we contains only few number of records, like how we can read all the record from the different pages in a web table. So which is basically called as a pagination table. So that we are going to see in the today's session. So first let us start with the table. So let me show you the table and let me open this application. So you can say demo.opencode.com. So first of all, we need to log into this application if you want to see the table. So here I'm providing demo and then demo username and password. Then click on login. And once it is done, so you will get some alert kind of windows. This will by default handle. You can just say close it. Now you can see here, there is one security notification is there. So sometimes this will appear, sometimes may not. But if it is displayed on the web page, you have to close this. Now, if I just look at this, this is your dashboard page of your application. Now, if I just go to customers section here, inside the customers main menu, we have another customer sub item. If I just click on this, you will see the table here. So this table is having customer data, like customer name, email ID, customer group, status, date, action, and so on. So if I just look at here, this is the first page of the table. And if you want to see the other data, you have to navigate through the pagination. You can just click on the two here. Now you can see the data in the second page. Now the third page data, and then fourth page, then fifth page, and then sixth page, and so on. So you can just keep clicking on this pagination values, and then accordingly you can get the data. So first of all, we will see how we can find number of rows and columns in a table in one particular page, because in every page is having same number of rows and columns. So if you find number of rows in first rows and columns for one page, it is exactly the same in another pages of your pagination table. So first of all, let us see how we can count number of rows and columns in a table. And then we will see how we can validate the data in a particular row and column. Okay. And then we will see how we can read the data from the one single page from the web table. And finally, we will see how we can get the data from all the pages in a table. And we will see how we can handle this pagination table. Okay. So first of all, let's go to VS Code editor. And here I have created multiple blocks. And this one for check number of rows and columns. And this is for check cell data from specific row and column. And this is for reading all the rows and columns data in a first page in a table. And finally, we will see the pagination part. Means we can navigate to each and every page and get the data from the table. So these are the different it blocks I have written. And to do this, first of all, the prerequisite is we need to log into the application, and then we need to go to customers main menu and then customer sub menu. Then we will get the table. So this flow is exactly the same for every test. So what I can do is here I have written one more additional block before each. And what is this is basically which is called as hook. In Cypress, we call it as a hook. When we say before each, whatever code we have written inside this will be executed multiple times before executing every it block. Okay. So sometimes if you have a common steps which are required for every it block, we will keep those steps inside the before each block, right? So now this particular block will execute before every it block in your describe section. Okay. So now in this, I will write the code for log into application and then go to customers main menu and then customers sub menu. So let us try to implement this code first. Click on the logout. Now here we need to start. So what is an application URL? First of all, we need to launch our application. So if I just remove this part, so this is actual URL of the application. Now go back to the VS Code editor. And now here I'm going to write visit command cy dot visit. And here specify the URL of application. So this will launch your application. And then we need to interact with the different type of elements. So let's inspect this username element. And if I just go to selector hub, and or you can look at this attributes, type, name, and placeholder. The ID attribute is available here. So I can use directly ID to get this element. And as part of CSS selector, I can simply say cy.get. And because I'm trying to access the element directly by using ID, I can use hash the value of the ID. So first of all, we need to capture that ID value from here. So just double click and then Control C. Go back to your VS Code editor. And now here we need to specify the ID. So this will able to identify the element. And then we need to type the value which we want to provide in this. That is called, let's say, demo. This is one statement. Now, similarly, we need to also identify username, password element. Let me inspect this. And this is the input box, and which is also having ID attribute. Let me just copy this ID attribute and go back to your VS Code editor. Now you can write cy.get and here hash ID attribute. Again, we are typing the demo here. So this will provide the password. And then we need to click on the submit button, or we can simply say login here. And for this login button, if I just look at here, there is a button tag and type equal to submit class. So I can try to use type and along with the class. And if I just go to selector hub and write the CSS selector, if you want to use tag and type or tag and attribute combination. So first we will try to use tag. What is the tag here is button. And now inside this, we have a type attribute. You can say type. And what is the value of the type is submit. You can say submit. So this is a CSS selector, which is identifying the one element. Now get that element and try to click on that element. cy.get. So get that element dot click. Fine. So this will perform the click on the login. And once you log in into this, then what we need to do, we need to go to customers main menu from there. So first we need to go to customers main menu. And from there, we need to go to customers sub menu. So for that, we need to write a code for that. Okay. So let's see how we can do this again. So let us log into the application as a demo and demo username and password, and then click on login. So once you successfully enter into this, once you click on the login, so this is alert basically, which will handle by Cypress, but this window sometimes will appear, sometimes may not appear. So you need to just close this arrow mark. You can just click this into mark. This will automatically close before going to customers and customers menu. So let us inspect this button, cross button. Now get this element in the selector hub. So this is a CSS selector of that element. Now get this element and let us close this element. So to close that one, what we can do before going to customers and customers, we can simply say get that element. And if that window is appear, then you can write the script, otherwise not required. So dot click. So this will automatically close that unwanted window. Fine. So then we will start navigating to customers/customers. So now we need to close this, and then we need to first click on the customers menu. So if we just inspect this customers, there is an anchor tag. Okay. And this anchor tag is present in the parent tag, which is li, and which is having some ID also, menu-customer. And inside this element, there is an anchor tag. So let us write CSS for this parent tag. So this is our parent tag, menu-customer. And this is basically what ID. So I can say hash. Now inside this element, we have a anchor tag element. So simply you can say /a. A is representing the anchor tag. So which will exactly identifying this element. Now get this element, get this locator, and then try to get that element. cy.get and specify this element dot click. So this will click on the customer's main menu. You can say customers main menu. Okay. And then we need to click on the sub menu, customer sub menu. Once you click on it, then sub menu options are displayed. Now let us inspect this element. So if we inspect this element, you can see there is use relative selector which is giving here. So this is also matching with that. So we will try to write our own CSS. So first of all, where exactly this element is present is this element is basically present inside this li, and this li is a part of the ul. And we will start from the main here. So this li, okay, from this li we will try to navigate to the l. So first let us write the CSS for this li tag, this one, menu-customer id. Inside this we need to go to ul tag. So I can say arrow ul tag. Now inside this ul, so inside this ul we have multiple li tags. See here, every li tag is representing one sub menu item. So first we need to, inside this ul, first we need to go to the first li tag. Okay, so if I say ul, okay, and greater than, you say li, so this is matching 5 elements. Now under the customer element we have a 5 different type of elements. Now we need to get the first li element. So here in the CSS we can access whichever element we have which is sub element. Suppose here under ul there are multiple li's are there. So if you want to access only first li element or the last li, so we can have a separate keywords are there. So li colon, and here these are the different keywords are available. And which one we want to access here? From the first one, first li tag we need to access. So li colon, and here you can say first child, because these are all child elements. Okay, in the customer ul contains a multiple li's. So till li I'm navigating, and colon, and here we need to specify first child. So this is exactly matching with the customer's sub menu item. So let me take this CSS selector. Now go back and get that element, cy.get, and specify this dot click. All right, so this will able to click on the customer's sub item, or we can say child item, sub item, or we can say child item. Right, so with this, once we click on this, then what we will do, we will get the table in the page. So we got the customers table. So now we need to handle the customer table. So these are the prerequisite. So if you want to perform all these checks, the prerequisite is first we need to log into application, then we need to navigate to the customer's sub menu item. So then we will get the table. So this particular piece of code will execute before every it block. Okay, before every it block, this particular script will be executed. Okay, now let us try to execute only this part. So at least we will create one more it block, and then we will try to execute this and check. Okay, so this is first hook block. Before each is comes under the hook. So in the coming videos I will discuss more about hooks concept. And before each is a one of the hook in Cypress, and whatever code we have written in the before each, that piece of code will be repeated multiple times, which will execute before every it block. Okay, so once it is done, now let us start with the actual test. So once it is executed, our table is ready. Now the first thing is we will check number of rows and columns in a table. In single page, let us find number of rows and columns, because every page we have equal number of rows and columns. So if you find out number of rows and columns in one single page in a table, that is exactly equal to number of rows and columns in another page. So now go back to the table. Now this is my table which contains some dummy data. So let us find out the number of rows and number of columns in this particular table. This is my first test. So for that, what we need to do is we need to first capture all the rows from this table. By writing the proper locator, we have to capture all the rows in a table. Then we can apply an assertion on that number of rows. So first of all, let us write a proper locator which will capture the rows from this table. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to inspect and get the selector hub. And by taking the help of selector hub, we can easily create our own CSS locator. Okay, so this is basically a table, right? So let's inspect the table first. So this is the table. Now I'm trying to inspect the table. So if I just look at this, if we just try to find in this particular HTML, you can see somewhere table tag. And if you're not able to see, just say Control F and just type table. so that you will see the table tag. Now you can see this is the actual table which we are currently focusing on. So there is a table tag. So first we need to reach to the table tag. Okay, let me write the proper selector to get this table. So how to write this selector? Let me write table, and inside the table, we can specify any attribute. Currently we have a class attribute, right? So let me try to use this class attribute along with the table tag. So first we need to get the table from that. So let me just specify this class equal to table hyphen border table hyphen hover. So this is actually name of the class. Now one element is matching. Now if you expand this table, you can see T head and T body. So actual rows are present inside the T body. So those rows we need to count. So if you expand this T body, there are multiple TR tags are there. And these TR tags, we need to find total number of TRs. Every TR is equal to one table row in the table. So now we need to find out total number of TRs inside the T body. So first we need to go to T body. So for that I'm using arrow T body, which is the tag name. Now inside the T body, we have a multiple TRs, but we need to find all the TRs. So greater than I'm saying TR. Now we can say 10 rows are present totally. So 10 TRs, it is find out from the table. So now this will return 10 elements. So let me capture this XPath. And now we'll put one assertion. So how many rows we are expecting here is 10 rows we are expecting based on that XPath, based on the CSS which we have written. Now go back to your VS Code editor. Now we are going to implement this. Check a number of rows and columns. So we already logged into this and we went to the customers table. Now we need to get the rows from the table. So let me write proper selector here. cy.get. Right. So here, this is a locator which will capture all the rows from a table, and dot should be here. We will put the assertion should. And here we have something called have dot length because we want to find the length of a number of rows. So we can say have dot length. So we have this keyword, and here as a second parameter, we can specify how many number of rows should be there in the table. That's our expectation. So simply you can say 10 is our expectation. This is assertion. So first we are getting all the rows from a table. Then we are checking the length of these rows, or length of the element should be 10. Okay, so same thing you can use it for counting number of elements. Suppose we want to count number of links in a page, or number of images in the page, or number of input boxes. So same thing you can apply. First we need to write a proper locator which will capture all the elements from the page, and then we can apply this assertion. How many elements you are expecting, that you can specify. So this is assertion, which will find the total number of rows, and once it is find out, we put an assertion. Now same thing will repeat for columns also. Now again go back to the page. Now we need to get the columns. How many columns are there in this table? Now again, if you just go to the table tag here, where exactly columns are present inside the T head. So now slightly we need to change this CSS inside the T body. Instead of TR, we need to first go to T head. Now inside the T head, now we can see we should not go to T body because T body contains all the rows. T head contains the columns. So we should remove the T body. Instead of that, let's go to T head. Now one element is matching. So inside the T head, how many? There is one more TR. Inside the TR, we have a TD tags. So if I just look at every TD is representing table header, right? Inside this TR. So now we need to go to T head. Inside the T head, we have only one TR. And inside the TR, there are multiple TDs. Now 7 elements are matching. They are exactly the number of columns in a table. So now we need to use this locator. Now go back to VS Code editor. Now we already done the validation for rows. Now we need to do the validation for columns. cy.get and write the proper locator, and dot should, again same validation, should have dot length, and how much length you are expecting according to our locator. It is giving how many columns? 7 columns. So I can say 7 here. This is our validation. So like this, we can find total number of rows and columns, and we can apply the validation. So let us try to execute this block and check whether they're passing or not. So I'm just going to execute only this one for now, because so far we have not implemented other blocks. So let me execute this. So to execute this, what we can do is we can just first save the file and open the terminal, execute this command npx cypress open, which will open Cypress app, select end-to-end testing, select the browser, and then it will open this app. Now here we can run this. We can directly click on this table, double click, it will start executing it. Now you can see it is launching my page. It is enter username and password. Now it is open customer submenu. And now you can just look at here. These are the two assertions that got passed. You can see here we are expecting 10 and also length of row is 10. And number of columns also we are expecting 7. So exactly they are 7. So both assertions are got passed. So these are the expected values. These are the actual values. Okay. So perfectly fine. So like this, we can find out how many rows and how many columns which we have in this table. So one it block is done. So now let us move on to the next one. And now I'm going to skip this for now. Next, let us implement another block. So now this time we will check data in the particular cell. So I want to validate some data is exact data is present on the particular cell. Cell is nothing but again the row and the column. So how we can check this? So we need to write a proper locator which will exactly point to the cell, and we need to extract the data and compare with our expected data. That's how we need to do. Okay, so here we need to proper write locator, and then only we will be able to do this. Now let me show you how we can write the locator for this. Go to the page. Now let us say I want to validate something. Let's say RS, some email ID is there here. So I want to verify this email ID is correct or not. So in which row we have in this 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth row. This is there in the my fifth row. And in which column it is? Checkbox is first column, second and third column. So fifth row and third column, we have this value. So now I want to validate this value. Exactly the same value is present in the fifth row and third column. Okay. So now we need to properly write proper XPath for this element. And let's see how we can write the XPath for this element. So to write the XPath for this element, first we need to go to the table. Okay, so table, and where exactly this data is available in the T body. So we need to go to T body. Now it is pointing to the T body, and we need to from the T body we need to navigate to the TR. Now I'm going to TR. Yeah, now we are focusing all the TRs, all the table rows. Now in which row this data is exactly present? In the fifth row it is present. So how to get the fifth row? If you want to get the first row, we can simply say first child. If you want to get the last row, we can say last child. And suppose if you want to get the specific row, then we have to say nth child. Okay, nth child of, you can slightly modify nth child of. Here we have to specify which row we want to get, fifth row we want to get. Now it is exactly pointing to the fifth row. So now from this row, we have to navigate to the third column, right? So here TR colon nth child of 5. So inside this row, inside the row, there are multiple TDs are there. See here, TD is nothing but table data. So which is representing all the columns. Now all columns are highlighted. Now inside the TD, which column we need? If I look at here, first, second, third column. Again, we will use TD colon. First child means you will get the first column. Last child means again you will get the last column. Nth child is nothing but we will get whichever column you need. So here we need to specify the child number. So 3 we need to specify because we want to get the value from the third column. Now if you observe this particular CSS selector exactly matching with the element which we are looking for in the fifth row and third column. So now let us use this locator in our test. Go back. Now I can say cy.get, write the complete locator, and we are expecting some value into this, right? We need to directly put an assertion. So to put the assertion, what you can do, dot contains, don't end the statement. We will use one assertion, contains. What is the value we are expecting to be here is, this is the value we are expecting. So just copy the same value which we are expecting and then place it here. This is itself is an assertion. Again, we no need to capture and store in any other variables, not required. So as soon as you get this element, and this element should contain the value. So this contains itself is a assertion. So this will verify this particular element is having exact value or not. Okay, so this is how we can check cell data from specific row and column. Now let us try to execute this block dot only. So only means only this block will be executed. So let me save it, and then you can just check it now. We started execution. Now log in. Yes, now you can see here it is successfully verified the contains. You can see contains the same value we are getting here. Okay, same value we are getting. It contains this. If suppose if it is not contains this, if something else it contains, then it will definitely fail here. Same value we are expecting. Fine. So this is how we can check the cell data in specific row and column in a table. Perfect. Now let me skip this. Let's try to implement another scenario. So now the next scenario is how to read all the rows and columns data in the first page. Suppose in the table, I have multiple pages are there. If I look at this, there are multiple pages are there. Each page is having equal number of records. So I want to read records in this particular page, whatever is displayed. So in the next example, I will show you how we can navigate through pagination. But for now, let me show you. Suppose you have only a table which doesn't have any pagination. Then I want to read all the data from this table. Right. So then how we can read the rows and columns from this table, all the rows and all the columns from this table, how we can get it. And very important scenario. Let me show you how we can do this. Okay. So for that, what we need to do is, first of all, again, same process. First, we need to get all the rows. And from each row, we have a multiple TDs or multiple columns. So here we need to write one each block. In the JavaScript, you have something called each. So by using that, we can repeat each and every row. And again, every row contains multiple TD tags. So we need to go to each and every row and read all the columns. Okay. So let us try to implement this. And first of all, we need to capture all the rows from this table. So to get all the rows from a table, we have written one XPath earlier. So let me try to write that XPath one more time. So this is basically table, right? Let me just go to table once again. And here, or else if you're not able to find, just Control F and just type table. So now we can see the table tag. Okay, so from the table, we will try to navigate till we get the rows. So now I can say this is my table, and then the class attribute available. So I'm using this class attribute to get the table. All right, so now specify here. So this is your class attribute. You can use double quotations or single quotations. Anything is fine. So this will point to the table. So from this table, we need to go to the rows. How we can go to the rows inside the table? We need to go to the T body section, T body. And T body contains the TRs, which are representing table rows. Now greater than here TR. Now it is pointing nothing. So first we need to go to T body. T body, and then we say TR. Now 10 elements are matching. These are exactly pointing to all the rows. Now we need to use this locator to get all the rows from this pagination table. Now go back. Now here, this is how we need implementing, reading all the rows and columns data in the first page. So first of all, let me write the locator. I say cy.get, and this is a locator. So this will get you all the rows. Now, once we get all the rows, we need to repeat each and every row. Again, we have to capture each and every column in every row, right? So here we have an operator called, we have a method called each. So in each method, we have to pass 3 parameters. So one is a row, let's say $row. So this is one parameter. I'll explain what exactly it is. Index. And then I can take one more variable called rows, 3 parameters. And this is basically an arrow function, which we have to create. Arrow function and call. So this particular method we have to implement. So how are we going to implement? So we have captured all the rows and we are repeating each and every. So this block we are repeating for every row. So what exactly these parameters are? Actually, we are passing these 3 parameters into the function. So here dollar rows is representing all the rows. So whatever we captured here, all the rows will be represented by this variable. Okay, and every row is having one index. So this index is a variable which will hold the index of the particular row, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. And the dollar row is a actual, we can say a variable which can hold the particular row. So this particular variable contains all the rows, and index is representing the index of every row, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It will keep incrementing for every iteration. And this is a point into the current row in a table. 3 parameters. So now inside this, what we need to do, as soon as from these rows, index by default start from 0. So from this rows, the first place, whichever row is available, I just want to get that row first. So inside this, we use one method called wrap. Okay, so we use one method called wrap. So that will exactly wrap the element which is there inside this row. How to get this? cy.wrap. And here we can specify this variable like this. And this is wrapped the element row. And inside the row, we have to read all the columns. There are multiple TDs are there. So this command will just get you one row, first row. And within this row, we have one more method called within. Okay, and here we need to again implement one more sub method that will get the columns from a table in that particular row. Now here we need to implement this also. So what exactly we are doing is from this all TRs, we are getting each and every row into this. Again, from this row, we are entering into this row. We are within this row. We need to get the all the TDs. How to get the TDs? Simple. We have to write a locator. cy.get of TD, because every table data, column data is having TD tag. TD is nothing but a table data. Right. In TD, again, there are multiple TDs are there in every row. So currently, let us say I have focused on the first row. And this is one TD, this is another TD, this is another TD. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7 TDs are there. So we need to capture every TD value from that particular row. So what we need to do, once we wrap the first row, in this particular first row, we have to capture all the TDs. And again, we have to repeat each and every TD. Again, dot each, one more each. And again, we have to pass 3 parameters. Just like how we have read all the rows, same thing we repeat for columns also. Each, and in the bracket, again, 3 parameters. Dollar colon, index, and dollar, again, calls. And this particular function we need to implement. Again, arrow function. So here we need to get the actual columns from that specific row. Let me repeat once again. So first we need to capture all the rows, and we need to read each and every row from the table. For that, we have to write one each block where we have to specify 3 parameters, which will capture all the rows. Index is representing index of the row. Row is actually representing the current row. Now we are wrapping this current row, and within that row, we are getting all the TDs, and we are repeating each and every TD. And that, again, these calls are having all the TDs, all the columns. From all the columns, we are getting one column based on this index, because index is representing 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. So from all the columns, we are reading first column. And from the first column, we have to extract the data. So how to extract the data now here? You can simply say cy.log. I'm just printing the data. So cy.log. And from this column, dot text. So this will give you actual text value of this particular TD. So this is how we need to implement. So first we have to capture all the rows. Now this outer each block will repeat each and every row. For every row, again, we have a multiple columns. So this inner each block, this will repeat all the columns. So first we have to capture all the rows. From every row, we are capturing all the columns. So this particular logic, whatever we have written, this will go and read all the data from the table, all the rows and columns data from the table. Okay. Now let us try to execute and see. So I'm going to execute this, only this part, it.only. Now file, save, and then see the execution part. Okay, now you can see perfectly it is read all the data. Now you can see here, And we have just printed the message, right? Now you can see it is first capture all the rows as said, right? So here it is started actually. So test body. Now here, this is the first one. So this is the first record. And again, wrapped another tr, and this is a second record data. And again, it wrapped another tr. Then again, it is a third column, a third row data. And this is the fourth row and fifth row and so on. It will give all 10 rows of data in our application. So like this, we can also read all the rows and columns from the table. Okay, just by writing each block. So first capture all the rows from a table, then repeat this each block for every row. And again, every row we were having multiple columns. So we need to wrap that row. Inside this, we need to implement one more each block, which will get all the columns from the particular row. So once it is done, again, it will go up, get another row, and another row. Again, it is reading another row. In that, again, it is reading all the columns. So like this, it will repeat till we get all the rows and columns from the table. So this is how we can read all the rows and columns data in the table. Okay. Now, if you have a pagination, then how we can handle it, I will show you now. So this is only for if you have a table without pagination, then how we can get the data from the table. So this is how we need to read the data from the table. Okay. So now let us see final one. So how we can handle the pagination part, pagination table. So let me just remove this only. This also I will skip for now. All right. So now let us try to implement the pagination part. It is a little complex. We need to understand very carefully. So in the pagination table, normally what happens is first of all, we need to get total number of pages here, right? First of all, we need to get total number of pages which are present in this particular table. So where exactly we need total number of pages? Here you can see. So this value we have to capture first. Sorry. So this is a value we have to capture first. So 500 and 580 pages are there. And every page we have a 10 records. One of 10 records it is showing in 500 and 580 pages. So this is very huge number, right? So if you start repeating each and every page, it will take a lot of time to read the entire data. So let us try to read the data at least from few pages. Let's say this is a pagination tab. Let us try to read 3 pages or 5 pages data. But still, if you want to read all the pages, you can still read it just by taking this value. First of all, we need to count total number of pages. And then we have to click on this pagination options one by one till we reaches 558. So, and parallelly, we have to read the data from this table. So multiple logics which we have to write. Okay, so first of all, if we want to read all the data from all the pages in a table, and what is the input for us? First of all, we need to find total number of pages. So let us see how we can find total number of pages in this particular table. That is the most crucial part in this. Okay, let me just go to how to find total number of rows. To find the total number of rows, first of all, we need to capture this entire text, this one. This is all one element actually. And from this element, we need to find out this one. Okay, we need to extract that number. And again, this number is dynamic. Sometimes it will be 1 digit, sometimes it will be 2 digits, sometimes it can be 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. But whatever digits we have here, we should able to get this value. That is exactly equal to total number of pages in a table. And those many number of options will be there in the pagination also. So currently it is giving only 9 options. But if you click on this, it will give you next another option. So here 9 is there. If I click on this, you will get so many paginations options are there. So once you click on the 9th page, then it will reveal the rest of the numbers. If I click on 13th page, then it will reveal the rest of them. So it will keep going like this till it reaches 5,581 pages. Sorry, 559 pages. So multiple times it will go repeat this. Okay. So the paging options are depends on total number of pages. Now we need to capture this number from this particular element. This is the most important point. So how to capture this? We need to apply a JavaScript functions. Built-in functions we need to apply to get this value. So like we can use substring along with the index of method we have to apply. Okay. Now let us see how we can do this. Suppose by using substring, how we can capture this value. So substring means what? We have to pass starting and ending point, starting index and ending index, so that we can capture the value. So how we will know the starting index of this value? And how we will know the ending index of this value? Because this value is not constant every time. This keeps changing. So this is more dynamic in nature. So even though it is changing, we should be able to capture the starting index of this element, ending index of this element. For that, we need to write one method called index of. In JavaScript, just like a Java, in JavaScript also, we have a method called index of. And we need to first capture this particular bracket. Okay, so if I look at this, so there is a bracket is here. Look at this value. So here there is a bracket. We need to capture the index of this bracket and we need to add +1. And that is exactly equal to first digit in this number. Similarly, we have to get the index of this particular pages, and that will become the and -1. If you do -1, that will become the ending index. So if you know the starting index and ending index of this number, we can use substring method to get the value from it. So that is the logic which we have to implement. Now let us try to implement this logic. Okay, before that, what we need to do? We need to capture this element. So let's inspect this element and get the locator of this. Go to selector hub, and this is a XPath. This is a CSS which is generated. Now let me use this. And from this, we have to extract the text. Okay. And then once you extracted the text means which will give you everything. And once you extracted the text from it, right? So then only we will be able to capture this part by using different methods, string methods. So let me capture this element first. Copy this. Go back to Visual Studio Editor. So first let me capture the number of pages I'm going to find. So here I'm writing the logic for find total number of pages. Okay. So how we can find it? Again, cy.get and the locator part. And from this locator, we cannot directly extract the text. Okay, so we need to write again one function here, because in JavaScript, it will follow the promising, right? It cannot reveal the promise directly. So what I can do is from this element, first we need to extract the element. From that element, we'll extract the text. So for that, we use something called then. Okay, then. So after getting the element, then inside this, we have to pass the element. Here we need to write one arrow function. So get that element in the variable called E, arrow function. And this arrow function, we need to capture the text. Inside this arrow function, we need to capture it. So we get this element. Then if we get this element into this variable, from this variable, from this element, this E is representing the element. From this, we have to extract the text. So I can simply say E.text is a method. And this particular method will return the text value. I'm storing that in a variable called myText. And this is an undefined variable. So we can use let or where or constant, whatever you want. So now I capture the text value. So what is this text value? Text value means contains what? This complete value. This complete value we were able to get here. So this will, my text value contains this one. So from this entire text, we have to get only this part. 559 we have to capture. So how to capture? So now we need to write proper methods. So first we need to get the index of this opening bracket, index of these pages. And when you get an index of the opening bracket, we need to do +1. That is exactly pointing to the first element index. When you get the index of pages, we need to do -1. That is exactly pointing to the last element of the page number. So even though this page number is dynamically changing, even though if you have more number of digits, no problem. We will dynamically get the starting index and ending index. So how to write the method for this? We need to first write the substring method. So let us say, anyway, we got the text here, my text. So my text.substring, and here whenever you use the substring method, we have to pass starting index and ending index of the element. So if you want to extract some part of the string, we will be able to extract, right? But how we will know the starting index of this number, ending index of the number? But this number keeps changing, so index also keeps changing. So we need to get it dynamically. So let us write the starting index of this element. How to get the starting index means, first this is a constant. This bracket and pages is constant value. So first we will get the index of this bracket and do +1. That is exactly equal to starting index of 559. So how to get the index of this method? Again, from the same text, dot index of. We have a method called index of, and in the bracket specify which index you want to get. You want to get the index of bracket +1, and then this will return the starting index of this number. Now, comma, second parameter. This is the first parameter in the substring method. Now we need to pass the second parameter, which is the ending index of this number. How to get it? Again, same. My text dot index of, and here which index we want to get? Pages. That we need to specify pages. But here we need to do -1, because -1 here there is a space also there. So if you remove -1, that will exactly pointing to the ending index of the number. Ending index of the number. So this will be the starting index and this will be the ending index of the number. So this will able to capture the exact value which is present here, even though it is increased or decreased. Okay. So this is a simple logic which we have to write. Now put the semicolon. So this will return actual number of pages, total number of pages. So that I'm going to store in a variable. I say total pages equal to. Now this variable we have to define before writing this function. So here I'm defining this variable. Let's create some variable. Let's say let total pages. Okay. And the same variable I'm referring here. So if you just want to print a total number of pages, you can simply say cy.log, and here I can just print. So total number of pages in a table. In a table, I'm just printing them like this. Concatenation and then total pages. Like this we have to print. Okay. So till here what we have done, we have captured this element and which contains the whole text. From that we have extracted the page number exactly. So by applying this function. So let us try to execute this much. So far, let us see whether it's giving the exact number of pages or not. Okay. So let me go to the file and I'm executing only this one. So I say only. Fine. So let me save and execute. Go to file, save, and see that execution. Login, getting the table. Now we can see it is exactly written 559. That is the actual number of pages which are available in the table. Perfect. So now we capture the number of pages, but there is few number of pages are there. We can't read every page, which will take a lot of time. So what we will do is we will try to read some pages, at least 3 pages or 5 pages up to 10 pages. We will try to read the data by using pagination option. Okay. So this is the logic where we can find total number of pages. So now the next logic which we have to write is to get the data from the table. So how to get the data from the table? So we already know total number of pages. So the next thing is what? We need to get the data from the table. So for that, we need to again implement another logic. So what is the logic we have to implement? So anyway, we know this number. So we need to start clicking on this pagination. Initially, it is in the first page. By default, it is in first page. So we will first page, we will read all the data from this. If you want to read all the columns, you can read, or if you want to read only one specific column, you can read. So first, once you read this data from the first page, then you need to click on the second page. And once it is read it, again, we need to click on the third page. Next to fourth page. Like this, how many times we have to keep clicking on this? Till we reaches 559. So what is the last page which we have is, if I look at here, 558 and 559 is the last page. So many pages are there. Now, what we need to do is we need to write a loop statement. In that loop, we have to repeat each and every pagination number. So if I just go back here, this is my first page. So first we need to focus on the first page, read the data, and then go to next page, again read the data, go to the next page, like this. And for that, how many times we have to click on this pagination depends on the total number of pages. Okay. So let me write the logic for that. So here I'm writing, so this is the logic which will give you total number of pages actually. Okay, but we are not going to read all the pages. Let us try to read few number of pages. So I'll just comment this code for now, this part. Okay, now let me just try to read the data from all pagination options. So let us say currently I'm having total pages. Total pages. Okay, let me just have some different value. Let's say five pages, let us assume. But if I don't specify this, by it you can read 559 times. You have to repeat the loop. But I'm not taking that big number. I'm just saying five total number of pages. We will try to read the data. So this is the initial variable I created. Now we need to write one for loop here. Okay, let's write a for loop. For, and inside the for loop, let us start from, let's say I'm creating one variable called let p equal to 1, because pagination start from 1. So I say p equal to 1. So how many times we have to repeat this page depends on the total number of pages. Okay, but we are not using this number. So what I will do is I can simply say p less than or equal to, I want to read 5 different pages. Simply say I can say 5. Or else you can say total pages 5 I have defined, right? So that you can specify. But actually, if you want to repeat 559 times, we have to specify this variable here directly. Okay. And then I can say p plus plus. P plus plus. Now this particular loop will taking care of clicking on the pagination one by one. Or how it is going to click? First, before clicking, we have to check. Suppose sometimes if we do not have any records in this table, or if you have few number of records, let's say 5, only 10 records, then you will not get all the options in the pagination. You will get only one option in the pagination. So if you want to navigate to this pagination, at least you should have 2 options. In the pagination, at least you should have 2 options. So before clicking on the pagination option, we need to first check if total pages, okay, total pages should be greater than 1. Should be greater than 1. That is a prerequisite and condition. So if the total pages are greater than 1, then what we need to do? We have to first click on this. This is the current active page. So here I'm printing the active page for now. Let's say cy.log, and current active page I'm printing. Active page is, okay, I'm printing the page here. So what is an active page? Here P is representing the active page. Okay, so P is a active page. So if the total number of pages are greater than 1, I'm getting the first page. Then I want to click on the pagination. So how to click on the pagination? And in the pagination option, in the locator, we have to pass this number. And if I look at this, there are multiple options are there. We need to write proper locator in which we should pass the pagination number also. What is the pagination number? This is the P representing the pagination number which we need to pass. Okay, let's inspect this pagination element. And if you look at this, there is a locator which is giving here. This is the locator which is pointing only one pagination. But we need to write one customized locator through which we are able to pass the parameter. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to pass the parameter. Okay, so basically all this is a pagination element. UL, you can see UL tag. So this is actual pagination element. Let us try to put this pagination element. I say UL is my tag, and class. What is the class here? Class is pagination. So I can say pagination. So this is actually representing entire pagination element. Now in the pagination, we have multiple pages are there. We need to exactly go to that particular page and we need to perform the click. So in the pagination, we have multiple li options are there. So when I say greater than li, now 11 elements are there. Currently 11 options are there in the pagination. And in this, which element we have to click? Okay, for example, let's say colon, I'm using nth child option. When I pass 1 here, observe this first element is matching. First page is matching in the pagination. When I pass 2 here, 2 is matching. 3 matching, 4, then 5, right? So like this value we have to dynamically pass inside the loop, so that in every iteration it will go and click on every page in the pagination. So this particular locator I'm going to refer in our script. So here, so what I can do is I can say cy.get. So get this element, and instead of hard-coded this value, we have to pass this pagination number. This page number we have to pass. But how we can parameterize this value inside the CSS instead of hard coding? Simply what you can do is we can simply say in the double quotations, specify the variable, and before variable and after variable, just add one plus. This is syntax. Same thing we use in the XPath also. If you want to pass a parameter into the XPath or CSS, we have to follow like this. And once it is completed, then we have to perform the click action. So this will able to click on the page option in the pagination element. And which element, which option it will click? Initially, it will start from 1, right? So if it is greater than 1 only, it will click, because by default 1 is not selected. So you don't need to click on the 1. So from the second onwards, it will go and click it. So once it is click on this, then the page will be open. And if you want to wait for some time here to see the page, you can see py.wait, cy.wait. You can wait for few seconds like this, 3 seconds, something like this. And once the page is open, now we need to write a logic to read the data from the particular page. From the particular page, once you click on this, now we need to read the data from this particular page. Again, how to read this data from this page, from this table? In the earlier example, we have seen how we can read this data. So let us read. We can read all the data, or we can read some column. Let's say I want to read email addresses. For every customer, email addresses I want to read. Okay, let's see how we can read. First of all, again, we have to capture the rows. From every row, we have to capture this email field, which is actually TD, which is available for every row. So we need to write multiple each blocks. Okay, so once we get a page, then we will first get the table. How to get the table? Again, we already written the XPath for the table, right? So if we just go back, right? So this is the CSS, not XPath, CSS, which we already written for the table. Now get that element here. Fine. So cy.get table tr, and each tr we have multiple columns. So we need to apply one method here, dot each. Each row we have to repeat each. Whenever you use each, we have to pass 3 parameters. One is what? Particular row and index, and all the rows we have to refer with one more variable. And this is an arrow function which we have to implement. So inside this, we have to write the code. So here, by using this each block, we have got all the rows in this variable. And then by using this index, again, index by default start from 1. So by using this index, every row will be stored in this variable. This variable, first variable, is representing the current row. And again, we have to wrap this row. And again, we need to go within this row, get all the TDs. Okay, now here to wrap this, we will say cy.wrap. In the previous block also, we have done the same thing. So cy.wrap. And here we specify the row element. And within this row, within this command, within this row, we need to capture all the columns or specific column, whichever you want. So in the bracket, and here again, one more arrow function. And this, in this, again, in every row, we have a multiple columns. So in this particular row, we have to capture which column we have to capture in this row, specifically third column, because email address is present in the third column. So we need to write a proper locator to catch the third column or to match with the third column. So let us say here, I'm writing one element, XPath. So first we already go to the table here. This is our table, right? And when I come here, this is current row, which is matching. So inside the row, we need to get the table. Inside this row, we need to get the TD. And inside the TD, we have a multiple element. So what I can do here is, you can say cy.log. And here one more thing we need to do. So cy.wrap this element within this arrow function we have written. Inside this arrow function, we need to something write cy.get TD tag we need to get. Which TD tag? TD. And we can use one method called nth child, right? Because in first row, we have multiple TDs are there. And every TD, again, nth child means what? This is first child, second child, third child, fourth child, like this. So email address I want to capture. So TD, nth child, nth-child. Again, this is CSS selector. Directly I'm writing nth child. So which which one we need to capture here is nth child is third, nth child is 3. So here nth child of P we are capturing pagination. Similarly, in this particular row, there are multiple TDs are there. So we want to get only third TD. Okay. And once you get the third TD, from this third TD, third element, we need to capture the text again. Capture the text. That is actual email address. So we have to apply then, and again, we need to write one more arrow function. So here we need to pass the element in the bracket and one more arrow function. And here we are able to extract the text. Again, how to extract the text? Element e dot text. So this will extract the text, which is actually email address of the element. So now I'm trying to print this cy dot log. So this will print the email address in our output. Okay, so this is how this will capture only email address. Suppose if you want to capture other things, again, you can just write this and change the child number here. Accordingly, it will get particular TD value in that particular row. So this is how we need to write. So first capture all the rows, read each and every row, wrap that particular row, go to inside this row and get the third column from that row and get the text from that particular column. So this is how we will able to read particular column or data from the table. So now this will repeat multiple times. It depends on the total number of pages. Suppose I want to read the data from the 5 different pages in the table. So it will repeat 5 times. When I say 3 here, 3 times it will repeat. But actually, how many number of pages are there? 559 pages are there. So it will take a lot of time to repeat all 559 pages. So I'm just limiting to the 5 pages for now. So let us try to execute this code and see how it is going to work. Fine. So let me save this. And I just want to execute only this particular block, pagination only. Let me try to execute. So currently total number of pages are 5, right? So 5 times it will be executing. Now go to the file, save. Now look at no test found. I think something is imported. Let me just remove this, not required. Okay, let me try to execute one more time. You can say save it. And now you can see the execution. It will read all the email addresses from every pagination option. If I just look at this, I'm maximizing this page. See now first page is already read. Now it is going to the second page. And I'm also printing the active page here. You can see active page number 3, active page number 5. Currently it is reading data from the 5. See the perfectly fine. This is a 5th page. And you can see the output here. For every page, it is reading the email. So here you can see this is the email address. This is another email address. Okay. And you can see which page it is reading. From the beginning, you can just look at this. Every page it is reading. So this is active page 3, active page 2, 1. So every page it will display. So let me show you here. So from here it is started. So where is our active page 1? So this is the email address. Again, you need to go back. Active page 2 here. So you can see this is active page 2. Now again, if you go back, it will start from active page 1. So this is the email addresses from active page 1. So here it is started actually. This is the first page, active page 1, and which is read every email address in this particular page. Now again, it will go to active page 2, and then it is read all the, this is the active page 2. Now it read all the emails from the active page 2. Like this, it will keep clicking on every option in the pagination, and it is reading the data from the table. So like this, we can specify how many number of pages you want to get from this table. Okay. So this is how we can handle the pagination table. So it's a little complex, but it is also very important to know how we can handle the pagination table along with the normal operation. If it is a static table, the number of rows, columns, data, everything is static, then normally we can get number of rows and columns, and we can get the data from the specific cell and we can validate it. And we can validate total number of columns and rows like that. But if it is a pagination table, again, we have to go to every page element, then we need to find out total number of rows and columns. And then again, we can, if you want, you can capture the data, right? So various types of operations we can do on the pagination table. So this is all how we can handle the web table, especially in Cypress. Okay, so that's all for this video. So thanks everyone. Thank you all. So in the next video, we will see another concepts. Thanks for watching.